Hi guys, this is Morgan again, teaching you how to make simple pumpkin carving stencils using the Pathfinder tools in Adobe Illustrator. So just looking around for some inspiration. Ooh, I really like this ghost. I think I'm gonna try and recreate him for my pumpkin stencil. Pretty simple shapes, easy to cut out. So go ahead and open up Adobe Illustrator and create a new document. I'm using the standard 8.5 by 11 just because it's easy to print out. You can reuse it a bunch of times for the stencil and for multiple years. I'm just going to name mine Pumpkin Stencil. You can name it whatever you want. You can also use whatever size. Definitely recommend measuring your pumpkin. You don't want to make a stencil that's too big or too small. Alright, so we are going to start with creating a new shape. We want to use a black fill with no stroke. Another thing is, so I'm just going to use a circle for my background shape. So for my stencils, I like using black as a way to signify the places that are going to get completely cut out, and using white as places that will stay to help create my final carved pumpkin. So I'm going to use the pen tool to create the ghost shape. I definitely recommend, instead of starting off with white, because the ghost is not going to be cut out. So I recommend using a bright color. I'm going to use bright blue to help me see the shape of my ghost so that it doesn't blend in with the white background of the artboard. So if you've never used a pen tool before, when you click and drag it, it will create a point with handles versus you just click it. It'll create a point that is has very sharp lines connected to it. So it's more like if you want to create a square, you just click, but if you want to create a circle, you click and drag to create nice round points. Then you can use the handles to refine your shape. So be sure that when you line up your ghost, you want to have your ghost overlapping, like the outline, you want it to overlap the edge of your circle so that it has a stable connection to the rest of the pumpkin. You don't want that connection to be too narrow, or else it could fall in when you're finished, and that's not fun. Then you'll just have a giant hole in your pumpkin instead of a hole with a ghost in it. Another thing is that you want to turn your ghost white after you have finalized its shape. So now we're gonna go find the Pathfinder. Usually mine is in the right hand side of my screen, but if you can't find yours, then you go up to Window and you go down. It's underneath Navigator. It's right here. So these are the tools that we'll be using. So then we're going to use minus front. So what you want to do is you click both of them and you hit the minus front button, and it subtracts the ghost from, which was in front of our circle. It subtracts it from the back shape, so that now we're going to put some eyes, and a mouth. Those parts you want to have black, because we'll be cutting them out from the ghost so that the ghost looks like he has eyes and a mouth. You can also adjust all the points using shortcut A. So if you press A and it'll adjust singular points instead of affecting and moving the entire shape. Okay, now we want to make sure that the ghost's connections aren't to the rest of the pumpkin aren't too narrow. Again, pressing A, you can refine those points, the singular points. I'm just gonna move that back a bit. Another handy dandy tool that I'm not really using at the moment is that if you use the arrow keys, it'll move points by pixels. So if you need to make a really small change, you have that option there. So now I'm just going to go through the shape modes. If you hover over them with your mouse, they'll tell you exactly what you need to do with them. The Pathfinder is super helpful. I use it a lot when I'm creating different logos and I want to cut something out, or just even like obviously pumpkin stencils, so I want to cut those out. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Goodbye, and happy pumpkin carving.